fully convinced that I have the worst roommate ever. She's messy, doesn't clean up after herself, breaks lease rules, and more. I'm stuck here until next year, so all I can do is complain about it. She ignores and breaks boundaries that we previously set, disregards the rules, and acts like none of it matters. Her personal hygiene is a serious problem too, and she doesn't even clean up after herself. Ever. I've tried addressing it, but she completely ignores me. So here I am, stuck in this apartment, sharing all of my roommate nightmare stories in chronological order, from the earliest disaster to the most recent one. Initially, there were just minor things that annoyed me, like her never taking out the trash, always making a mess, and not knowing how to use the dishwasher. But one day, everything changed. Keep in mind that we had only been living together for a couple of months before this happened. So I got home, unlocked the door, and as I started to open it, I saw my roommate cooking our dinner completely naked. No underwear, no bra, nothing. She gasped, ran at the door, and then slammed it in my face before locking it. She told me to hold on. Seeing what I had just saw and I was in total shock, I just stood there and waited. After a couple of minutes, she finally let me in and then straight up lied to me. She told me that her boyfriend had taken off her shirt while she was cooking. Completely understandable if that were true, but I know what I saw and she was completely naked. I'm just glad that I didn't see her boyfriend naked if he was. To make things worse, she had planned this nice dinner for us and I couldn't exactly be rude or make things more awkward. So, I sat there and ate the dinner she had just cooked completely naked. That was completely traumatizing. What bothers me the most is that before we even moved in together, we both agreed that under no circumstances would we ever be naked in shared spaces, which sounds weird, but we've heard the nightmare roommate stories. We also agreed to keep our common areas clean and respectful, especially since both of our boyfriends visit. Both of those boundaries have completely gone out the window. Her boyfriend would constantly come over unannounced, and she even started giving him the keys to our apartment, which, keep in mind, is grounds for eviction according to our lease. They do PDA right in front of me and my boyfriend, which makes us both extremely uncomfortable. And when I say PDA, I mean full-on making out and feeling each other up, completely ignoring our presence. Now, this next story comes directly from one of my Reddit posts, titled, "Send me to the psych ward before I crash out. My roommate is disgusting, inconsiderate, and breaking rules." About a month after moving in with her, she started leaving her personal trash from her bedroom and bathroom in the kitchen and living room area. I'm talking used period products, dirty wipes with poop on them, and other gross stuff sitting there for weeks until I physically move it over myself using the kitchen tongs. Last time this happened, it sat there for over 3 weeks before she finally took it out. Now we have a gnat problem, which I'm trying to handle on my own before calling pest control. She loads knives into the dishwasher sharp side up, and I even texted her to let her know that this is a safety issue, and her response was, "Oh, okay, LOL." On top of all of that, her bathroom shares a wall with my bedroom, and her fan is broken and makes an awful high-pitched screech. I showed her how bad it sounds, but she keeps turning it on and leaving it running for hours, even when she's not in there. By the time I made this story, it was November, and it was absolutely freezing at night. She kept turning on the air conditioning at night. I'm talking 60 degrees when it's already 20 degrees outside. I woke up freezing every single night. I even set the thermostat to an agreed temperature, but she kept overriding it. So this is actually the very first thing that I decided to finally stand up for myself for, because I was waking up freezing every night with 3 blankets and a comforter on me. To kind of summarize the conversation that I had with her, I basically said that it's November and it's 20 degrees at night and there's no reason to have the air conditioning on. Not only is it against our lease agreement, but we can get fined each time plus pay damages if something were to happen. And it previously was set at an agreed temperature of 68 degrees, and I turned it down even more to please her. And it's only 5 degrees off from us receiving a fine, so don't change it, it's required for us to have it on. And then she just said, "Okay, I won't mess with it, you can put it back to what it was." The day after all of this happened, she had her boyfriend over unannounced again, and then gave her boyfriend the keys to get into our apartment. Turns out she only gave him the key to get into the building and not into the apartment. So it's like 11 p.m. at night and I hear our door rattling and stuff. And we live in a bad neighborhood, I'm not gonna lie. So I literally started getting under my bed and hiding. And I texted her to do the same and grab anything she can to defend herself. And then she texts me back and she's like, "Oh no, that was just my boyfriend, LOL. He forgot the key to our apartment." So the day after all of this happened, I started making a running Google Doc of all of the lease violations that she's committed. To this day, there are 9 that she has committed, and that doesn't even include the repeats under each section. Some of them have even up to 4 violations. Now keep in mind that I'm still going back and forth from reading my original Reddit stories and adding my own input and details on it. But after this whole story that I posted on Reddit with her boyfriend getting the keys and I thought he was breaking in, everybody was telling me that I need to report this to management because this is absolutely not allowed. It's not just a safety issue for me, it's a safety issue for the entire building. So after a few days of waiting to hear back from management, they basically told me that all they can do is monitor the situation and keep an eye on it, and that they posted significant signage around the building to send a reminder. And in my opinion, that is not enough. This has happened multiple times. I've told you about it. This is unsafe for the entire building, and it's grounds for fines and eviction, and you're still not doing anything about it? Like, at least throw her like a $200 fine. I could go on about this for literally hours, so let me just dive into the other story. I call this the bacon crime scene. So, as a little backstory, I had deep cleaned the kitchen the morning before this all happened. So I literally cleaned all of the cabinets, like the outside of the cabinets, the oven. I mopped. I did everything that is included in a deep clean, like as I should. So that night, she made dinner and then left a huge mess all over the counter, stove, and the sink. She promised me she would clean it because I mentioned the mess, but of course she didn't. Instead, the next morning, she added to the mess by cooking a full pack of bacon for her boyfriend. Before I left for my 2 exams, she offered me the single piece of bacon that was left over, and that was that. When I came home later, I was greeted by the worst kitchen disaster I've ever seen in my life. There was bacon grease absolutely everywhere, from the stove to the ceiling, the floor, and even splattered 5 feet away onto the dishwasher. And I'm not even exaggerating. Because I'm a big girl and I can stand up for myself now, I texted her and I said, "It looks like a bacon crime scene in the kitchen." And then she promised me that she'd clean it. But I've heard that before. Meanwhile, I had to mop and deep clean the kitchen all over again because the grease was so bad. It wasn't just sticky and gross, it stank. I smelled it coming out of the elevator on my floor. That's how bad it was. I took photos for documentation because I've already told her about multiple issues, including how we already have a bug problem, and now there's this. I don't even think I mentioned the bug problem earlier in the video, but because of her leaving her shitty baby wipes in the kitchen and living room area for 3 weeks, we have a terrible gnat problem, and literally to this day, I am still swatting gnats in my face in my room, which is clean, by the way. After that, things somehow got even worse. So, like I said, I've already told her that I'm uncomfortable with her boyfriend being here unannounced, and then I come home the day after the bacon fiasco, and I see his car parked in our reserved tenant parking lot. I was so pissed that I left to cool off elsewhere, but I went on Snapchat and took a beautiful photo of his car in our parking lot, and then she saw that I was on Snapchat and texted me that her boyfriend was over after I had already known. So I responded to that by saying, "Yeah, I figured because his car is in the parking lot right now." I went home that night to go to sleep, and then I literally heard him leave. The next morning, we both had stuff to do, and I woke up to his shoes scattered across the living room, meaning that he had come back after I was asleep. She had already left, and once she was gone, she texted me saying that he was still in the apartment. So now, he's alone in our place with me after I've repeatedly told her this is not okay. She knows I'm uncomfortable, but continues to sneak around and sneak him in. I reminded her about the lease and the warning signs that management posted because of my reports and asked her when is he leaving because I have stuff to do too and he can't be here alone all day. She said that he was leaving soon and would be back that night. And now, when someone says that someone will be leaving soon, usually you think within the hour, like 15, 20, an hour at the latest. And then hours later, he was still there with access to everything, which is absolutely not okay. I explained to her how unsafe this is, and if he were to start a fire or do something stupid while we were gone, we could get fined or evicted. He's also not included on the lease or the renter's insurance, and that makes it even worse. She promised me he wouldn't cook or make a mess, but yet I came home to new dirty dishes in the sink, so yes, he did cook, and then he left the mess for me to clean up. Later that day, she asked me if I was mad at her. I told her, yeah, it's not fair that I had to deep clean the kitchen multiple times because of her messes, and and that I'm worried that we're going to get evicted because she keeps breaking the lease. She brushed me off with the same excuse she always does, is that she doesn't have time to clean, she won't make a mess unless she has time to clean it. And this, keep in mind, this is literally what she said both the day of the bacon mess and the night before when I had to clean the kitchen because of her mess. All of our communication is done on Snapchat, so I am able to half swipe and see the message without her knowing that I've seen the message, if that makes any sense. So the next day, while I'm at work, I can't focus at all, so I whip out my phone and I start making a nice long message about all the things that I've been holding in, and I decide to send it to her. My message basically states how I've been feeling disrespected in my own space, how I know she lied to me when she was cooking naked. She didn't tell me that her boyfriend was here the other day. I only found out because I saw his car, even though she keeps insisting to this day that she told me he was here, not until after I was there. Come on, let's be real. I have no idea what they've done when I wasn't home, and plus the constant PDA makes me uncomfortable. I told her I pay a lot to live somewhere where I feel this anxious and unsafe, and that we need to sit down and reestablish boundaries. And this is the kicker. She completely brushed it off. She didn't acknowledge her naked cooking and insisted that she's been telling me when her boyfriend comes over, which isn't true. She ignored boundaries and made my feelings of being unsafe and being disrespected completely nothing. She acts like it's no big deal. To this day, she hasn't apologized for anything. Not the bacon mess, not the disrespect, not the lies, not the fact that I had to see her cooking naked and then she lied to me about it. Nothing. I've reported to management and I've done everything that I should do, but management isn't helping. Like, I have no clue what to do, and I don't even want to come home because I feel so disgusted and anxious even just seeing her name pop up on my phone. So after she didn't apologize, I didn't even open her message, literally for an entire week. The only reason that I did open her message and text her was to tell her that my boyfriend would be coming over to visit me because I've been so stressed out about this entire situation. And let me tell you how tired he is of hearing about it. Now, that was all before Thanksgiving break, and now that I was able to have a complete week of silence of her thinking that I'm so mad at her and that the friendship is over, and then my extra week at home, just being able to be with my family and with my pets, it was absolutely amazing. But now I'm back, and this is day 5 back from Thanksgiving break, and let me tell you what happened. Thankfully, she hasn't really been here much. She's been hanging out at her boyfriend's house because clearly I am still upset with her. Like, I don't know how to process this, and friends do not lie to each other. I've fully come to the conclusion that I don't want to be friends with her anymore. We were great friends before we moved in together, and then she had to go and do all of this stuff. Like, friends don't lie. Friends don't make each other feel bad and not apologize for it. Like, this is some middle school drama that I don't need. Anyways, I wake up today and I go to throw out my stir stick for my coffee, and the trash can smells absolutely horrendous. So I know why, and let me tell you why. So before I came back from Thanksgiving break, she quote unquote deep cleaned the entire apartment. And when I say deep clean, that means her throwing out her moldy leftovers from a month before Thanksgiving break and leaving them in my trash can, which she already broke, by the way, for as long as she felt like it. I took out the trash bag because the bag was full anyway, so I needed to take it out. And I was greeted by a mystery sludge growing fuzz on the bottom of the can, and then her leftovers molded and growing fuzz from when she made the mess the night before the bacon crime scene. It smelled like death. I gagged, I almost threw up, and then I had to go and shower it in my little stall shower here in my apartment. So now, I've showered with my trash can 2 times because she doesn't know how to fucking throw stuff into a trash bag. Like, it's not that hard. So, I'm cleaning my trash can and I'm texting her just like, hey, there's no trash can until further notice because there is mystery sludge and also your leftovers from a month ago molding in the trash, so now it's soaking in my shower. And then finally, she decides, oh, I'm sorry, like, I haven't been pushing things down in the trash can, so what's the problem? And I said, well, there's literally food from when you cooked the day before the bacon massacre. Like, come on. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see any holes in the bag. Well, no, you don't see the holes in the bag, but what you made was a soup. So bottom of the trash bag. It doesn't matter if there's 3 trash bags in there. I can guarantee 100% that liquid will still end up in the bottom of the can. And she's the one that deep cleaned the kitchen, so if you're going to deep clean the kitchen, doesn't that include, I don't know, taking the trash out and possibly wiping down the trash can if you notice it stinks after your nasty, rotted, molding food has been sitting in there for a week? Yeah, I would think so. And here I am going on another rampage again. I literally have already extended this video 10 minutes longer than what I want it to be because I get so heated I cannot shut up about it. Looking back at all these stories, it's absolutely exhausting, but I have to admit it is kind of ridiculous and hilarious. If you've survived a roommate from hell, you are not alone. And if you want to see more of my chaotic roommate stories, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss the next disaster. Trust me, there's more coming.